1847 hours, Bab-el-Mandeb Strait, the southern entrance to the Red Sea, one of the most strategically critical choke points on the planet. A narrow corridor of water barely 29 kilometers wide at its tightest point, through which approximately 12% of global trade passes every year. Container ships, oil tankers, bulk carriers, the veins of the global economy, all forced to squeeze through this single geographic bottleneck between the Horn of Africa and the southwestern tip of the Arabian Peninsula. Whoever controls this strait controls the flow of commerce between Europe, Asia, and the energy markets of the Middle East. And for the past several months, the Houthi movement, Ansar Allah, operating out of Iranian-backed command infrastructure in western Yemen, has been doing everything in its power to convince the world that they control it. They do not, but they keep trying. USS Mason, DDG-87, an Arleigh Burke-class Flight II, a guided missile destroyer, is operating 34 nautical miles northwest of the strait, assigned to Combined Task Force 153 under Operation Prosperity Guardian. She is one of several U.S. Navy surface combatants maintaining a persistent presence in the southern Red Sea corridor, protecting commercial shipping lanes and deterring further Houthi strikes on civilian vessels. Mason is a 9,200-ton warship, 509 feet long, powered by 4 General Electric LM-2500 gas turbines that can push her through the water at over 30 knots. She carries 96 Mark 41 vertical launch system cells loaded with a mix of SM-2 Block IIIB surface-to-air missiles, SM-6 dual-role interceptors, and ESSM Block II evolved Sea Sparrow missiles for close-in layered defense. Her AN/SPY-1D V phased array radar scans 360 degrees continuously, tracking hundreds of contacts simultaneously. She has a Phalanx CIWS Block IIIB on her aft deck, a 20mm Gatling gun that fires 4,500 rounds per minute and engages threats automatically without human input. She has a Nulka active missile decoy system, a SLQ-32V6 electronic warfare suite, and a crew of 281 trained, experienced sailors. The Houthis are about to throw their best punch at her. At 1847 hours and 22 seconds, USS Mason's AN/SPY-1DV radar detects the first anomalous air contact bearing 148 degrees, range 67 nautical miles, altitude approximately 300 feet, airspeed 120 knots. Sea skimming profile, low radar cross-section. The contact does not broadcast an IFF transponder signal. Within the next 14 seconds, the system logs 4 additional contacts on similar bearings, staggered in range from 61 to 74 nautical miles, all converging on Mason's position. 5 contacts, all subsonic, all sea skimming, all unidentified. The Combat Information Center is already moving. The threat picture is immediately recognizable to anyone who has been following Houthi attack patterns in the Red Sea over the past year. These are Shahed 136 derivative drones, or more precisely, the Houthis' locally assembled version of the Iranian design, which they called the Wayed, or Qasif K-2, depending on which propaganda release you read. They are one-way attack drones, kamikaze systems, built around a commercially available piston engine, read the kind you could buy for a small aircraft, bolted to a delta wing airframe packed with 40 to 50 kilograms of high explosive. They fly a pre-programmed GPS waypoint route to their target and then simply crash into it. No pilot, no sensor operator, no ability to respond to countermeasures or evasive action by the target. Just a flying bomb on a fixed track and a prayer. Iran has supplied the Houthis with the design, the components, the technical advisors, and the GPS coordinates. The drones themselves are assembled in workshops in Sana'a and Hodeidah using a mixture of smuggled Iranian components and commercially sourced electronics. The GPS guidance system relies on unencrypted civilian satellite signals. The engine is a Rotax or equivalent clone producing less than 30 horsepower. The entire unit costs somewhere between $20,000 and $50,000 to produce, a fact that Houthi media regularly celebrates as proof of their strategic genius, attacking multi-billion-dollar warships with cheap, disposable weapons. What they neglect to mention in their media releases is the part where USS Mason destroys every single one of them before they get anywhere near the ship. The TAO aboard Mason calls away general quarters at 1848 hours. It is a routine call. The crew has done this drill enough times over the past 4 months of deployment that the transition from normal watch standing to full combat posture takes less than 2 minutes. Every station is manned. Every system is active. The SLQ-32 V6 electronic warfare suite is already analyzing the radar signatures of the incoming contacts, comparing them against the library of known Houthi drone profiles accumulated over months of operational experience in this theater. The classification comes back: high confidence, shade 136 derivative UAS attack profile, 5 drones, converging from the southeast. The lead drone is now 58 nautical miles out. At 1849 hours and 4 seconds, Mason's TAO authorizes the first engagement layer. 2 SM-2 Block IIIB missiles launch from the VLS in rapid succession, trailing fire visible for 20 miles across the darkening water. The standard missile 2 Block IIIB is a semi-active radar homing weapon with a continuous wave illumination requirement, or BOXC. Mason's fire control radar paints the designated targets, and the missiles ride the reflected energy to intercept. The SM-2 is optimized for air-breathing threats at medium to extended range, and against a subsonic delta-wing drone flying a straight, predictable GPS-programmed course at 300 feet altitude with no electronic countermeasures and no evasive capability. The engagement geometry is about as clean as a live-fire range exercise. Missiles reach their targets at 1849 hours and 51 seconds. 2 contacts disappear from the display. Drone 1, gone. Drone 2, gone. 3 remain. The third contact is at 41 nautical miles and closing. The fourth is at 44 nautical miles. The fifth, lagging slightly behind the main group, is at 52 nautical miles. The Houthi attack coordinator Zermendai, somewhere in Yemen, watching a tablet feed from a basic RF telemetry link that gives him minimal real-time data on his drones, has no idea that 2 of his 5 weapons have already been turned into debris fields in the Red Sea. His telemetry link dropped out at the moment of intercept. He is continuing to report to his commanders that the attack is proceeding. He is wrong. 2 more SM-2 launches at 1850 hours and 18 seconds. The fire control radar shifts to illuminate the third and fourth contacts. These drones are now inside 40 nautical miles and well within the SM-2's engagement envelope. The missiles are in the air for 58 seconds before the intercepts occur. Contact 3, destroyed at 1851 hours and 16 seconds. Contact 4, destroyed at 1851 hours and 19 seconds. The explosions, relatively modest 40 kilograms of warhead material detonating against an SM-2 fragmentation warhead in the same microsecond, throw brief orange flashes across the horizon barely visible from Mason's bridge in the fading twilight. 1 drone remains. The 5th contact, the trailer, is now at 48 nautical miles, bearing 152 degrees, altitude 280 feet, still holding its programmed course. It is not evading. It cannot evade. It does not know that its 4 partner drones have been destroyed. It does not know anything because it is a GPS-guided delta wing with a piston engine and no situational awareness beyond its preloaded waypoints. It is going to fly exactly where it was programmed to fly until something stops it. Something is going to stop it. The TAO designates the 5th contact for ESSM Block 2 engagement at 1852 hours and 02 seconds. The evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 2 is a shorter-range, high-agility interceptor designed for exactly this kind of close defense scenario. A subsonic, low-flying, small cross-section threat in the terminal phase of its attack run. Unlike the SM-2, which uses semi-active radar homing and requires continuous illumination from the launching ship, the ESSM Block 2 carries its own active radar seeker in the terminal phase, allowing it to home on the target independently once it gets close enough to acquire. The missile launches from VLS Cell 46 at 1852 hours and 9 seconds. It is in the air for 31 seconds. The fifth drone ceases to exist at 1852 hours and 40 seconds, 31 nautical miles from USS Mason. 5 drones launched. 5 drones destroyed. Elapsed time from first detection to final intercept, 5 minutes and 18 seconds. USS Mason never maneuvered defensively. The crew never left general quarters posture, but the ship never changed course, never increased speed, never fired her close-in defense systems. The threat was neutralized at distance in layers using exactly the systems the Navy designed for exactly this purpose. The Phalanx CIWS on the aft deck remained in standby throughout the engagement. It was not needed. In Sana'a, the situation is already becoming clear to the attack coordination cell. The telemetry feeds have gone dark. None of the drones have reported reaching their target waypoints. There is no explosion visible on the horizon from the elevated observation points the Houthis use along the Yemeni coast. The attack has failed. This is not the first time. It will not be the last time they try. But it will always end the same way because the fundamental problem with the Houthi drone strategy is not tactical. It is technological. They are operating consumer-grade GPS guidance systems against a warship running the most sophisticated radar and fire control software in the world. They are flying pre-programmed, non-maneuvering attack profiles against a ship that can track 200 simultaneous airborne threats and engage 18 of them concurrently. They are spending $50,000 per drone against a ship that costs $1.8 billion and carries missiles that have been refined through 4 decades of live-fire testing. The math does not work in their favor. It has never worked in their favor. And yet they keep launching. At 19:04 hours, 12 minutes after the first attack was fully neutralized, Mason's AN/SPS-67V3 surface search radar, operating in conjunction with the ship's SH-60B Seahawk helicopter crew, currently airborne 22 nautical miles to the south, detects 2 fast-moving surface contacts bearing 163 degrees, range 28 nautical miles, speed approximately 35 knots. The contacts are small, low radar cross-section, consistent with fiberglass-hulled fast attack craft or rigid inflatable boats. They are running without navigation lights. They are heading directly toward Mason's position. The Seahawk crew, operating their AN/APS-153V multimode radar and AN/AAS-44CV FLIR system, gets eyes on the contacts within 4 minutes and confirms 2 armed speedboats. Each carries what appears to be a crew of 4 to 6 personnel, with man-portable weapons and at least 1 mounted heavy weapon, possibly a 12.7mm DSHK or a rocket-propelled grenade system. This is a classic Houthi composite attack structure. The drone swarm is the first wave, designed to saturate and exhaust the ship's close-in defense systems or force the crew into distracted defensive mode. The fast boats are the second wave, intended to close rapidly under the cover of the chaos from the drone attack and engage the ship at close range. It is a tactic borrowed from IRGC Navy doctrine, which itself borrowed it from the small boat harassment tactics Iran developed during the 1980s tanker war. It is a tactic designed to defeat a ship that has already expended significant defensive munitions and whose crew is distracted and disorganized. Mason's crew is neither distracted nor disorganized. The drone attack consumed 4 SM-2 missiles and 1 ESSM out of a 96-cell magazine that still holds over 90 rounds. The crew is at general quarters, every station manned, every system active. The fast boats are not a complication. They are a targeting opportunity. The SH-60B Seahawk crew is already in weapons-free posture on the surface contacts cleared by the ship. The helicopter carries the M197 20mm cannon in its nose turret and an M240 machine gun door mount. At 19:11 hours and 42 seconds, the Seahawk makes its first firing pass on the lead boat from an altitude of 200 feet, the 20mm cannon opening up in a brief 3-second burst that walks across the waterline of the fiberglass hull. The boat loses steerage immediately. It is not maneuvering. It is dead in the water at 19:12 hours and 8 seconds. The Seahawk banks hard left and sets up for the second boat. This crew has seen the lead boat disabled and is attempting to reverse course and accelerate back toward the Yemeni coast. They are running at 38 knots and gaining distance. The Seahawk is traveling at 150 knots. The geometry of this is not complicated. The second firing pass occurs at 19:12 hours and 51 seconds. The second boat is stopped at 19:13 hours and 4 seconds. Both fast attack craft are disabled. Personnel in the water. Mason Seahawk circles overhead maintaining visual contact while the ship broadcasts on Channel 16 and Maritime Guard frequencies, reporting the incident position to CTF-153 Command Authority. A Royal Navy warship operating 55 nautical miles to the northeast, part of the same coalition task force, is diverted to assist with recovery operations. Aboard USS Mason, the TAO closes the engagement log at 19:18 hours. Total engagements: 5 UAS threats destroyed at range, 2 surface fast attack craft disabled. U.S. personnel casualties, 0. Damage to USS Mason, 0. Flight operations continue. The Seahawk recovers aboard the ship at 19:31 hours and is refueled and rearmed and returned to ready status by 20:04 hours. The ship returns to its patrol station. The transit corridor that CTF-153 is charged with protecting has not been closed for a single minute during the entire engagement sequence. In Yemen, the propaganda machinery will take approximately 6 hours to craft its response. The initial statements will claim that heroic Yemeni fighters launched a complex attack against the American destroyer, which is technically accurate. The follow-up statements will claim that the attack achieved its objectives and sent a message to the enemy, which is not accurate in any sense that a neutral observer could evaluate. Video footage of the launch operation, pre-recorded as always, will be released to affiliated media channels. There will be graphics of burning warships. There will be declarations about the defeat of American arrogance and the power of the resistance. None of it will contain any footage of the actual engagement outcome, because the outcome involved 5 Houthi drones and 2 Houthi speedboats ceasing to exist while USS Mason continued her patrol without a scratch. This is the strategic reality of what the Houthis are doing in the Red Sea, stripped of the propaganda framing. They are not winning a naval campaign. They are not defeating American sea power. They are not controlling the Bab-el-Mandeb. They are launching attacks that are being systematically destroyed by a layered defense system so mature and so well practiced that the crew of USS Mason treats a 5-drone swarm attack as a routine watch event, notable enough to file a detailed report, not notable enough to change the operational schedule. The missiles expended will be replenished at the next at-sea replenishment window. The Seahawk will fly again tomorrow night. The patrol continues. What the Houthis have accomplished concretely after months of attacks on commercial shipping and multiple attempts against U.S. Navy vessels is this. They have forced a rerouting of some commercial traffic around the Cape of Good Hope, adding cost and time to shipping routes. They have caused genuine damage and casualties aboard civilian vessels that had no missile defense systems. They have generated significant quantities of propaganda content. And they have demonstrated over and over that against a United States Navy warship with a competent crew and a full magazine, their entire tactical playbook, drones, cruise missiles, fast boats, composite attacks, produces the same outcome every single time. 0 hits, 0 damage, 0 American casualties. The Houthis are spending $50,000 drones and $2,000 speedboats against systems that represent the accumulated investment of 4 decades and hundreds of billions of dollars of American naval engineering, testing, and operational refinement. The Shahed derivative they are flying was designed to attack targets with no air defenses. The AN/SPY-1DV radar on Mason sees them at 70 nautical miles. The SM-2 Block IIIB was killing targets far more capable than a GPS-guided piston engine drone before most of the Houthi launch crews were born. The ESSM Block 2 seeker is more sophisticated than anything the Houthis have ever built. The Phalanx CIWS, which did not even need to fire tonight, sits on Mason's aft deck as a final guarantee. A system capable of destroying incoming threats at under a mile range automatically without human input, faster than any human operator could react. The Houthis will launch again tomorrow, or the day after. They have the drones, they have the coordinates, and they have a strategic interest in being seen to resist American naval power regardless of the actual results. But the results will be the same. The geometry of this engagement, making the sensor reach, the magazine depth, the layered defense architecture, the training and experience of the crew, does not change between launches. Every drone they send will be tracked, targeted, and destroyed. Every fast boat will be intercepted. Every composite attack will be defeated, layer by layer, with the calm efficiency of a crew that has done this enough times that the enemy's best efforts have become, at some level, simply background noise on the watch rotation. In the CIC aboard USS Mason, as the last entry is logged in the engagement record, one of the watch standers reaches for his coffee mug, finds it empty, and heads to the mess for a refill. The TAO initiates the post-engagement systems check. Outside on the flight deck, the Seahawk crew is finishing their debrief. The Red Sea is dark and quiet. The shipping lanes are open. The Houthis just spent 5 drones and 2 speedboats and several hours of planning and preparation, and the sum total of what they achieved is 5 new line items in an American naval engagement log and a slightly lighter magazine aboard a ship that will be rearmed within the week. The resistance, it turns out, is considerably less impressive when the other side can see you coming from 70 miles away and has already decided what to do about it before you get anywhere close. Bye for now.